Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of The Gunman. So today I'll be taking you guys through the paintwork on this XE Jaguar. So it's a pretty straightforward job here. Obviously we did the big repair on the front door. We're blending into the rear door and also blending into the fender. Now there was one or two decent sized stone chips sort of halfway through that fender. So obviously I did decide to pick them up when I was prepping the vehicle up. And we'll just put a light bit of colour over the top of that just to improve it. So yeah, that's not what the car was here for. The fender was just a blend and the rear door obviously just a blend. But yeah, it was quite a sizable repair on the front door there. I probably should have got some video footage or at least a couple of photos of the door when I was priming it up, because I actually did prime this job up myself. But yeah, basically the whole guts of that door was full of body filler. And I put a good 4 coats of obviously dark grey primer over the top of that, blocked that back. There was 1 or 2 spots I actually decided needed a little bit more filler I wasn't quite happy with. I then used a little bit of UV cured primer and continued on with my prep work. But look, it's one of those things that I do actually have lots of other videos with all the prep work, primer work, and all those stages. So that's why these days, if I don't feel like making a video, I'm not going to make a video anymore. Like I used to, in the years leading up to now, I used to like feel really bad and like get down on myself if I didn't do like a video or 2 each week. But now I'm at the point where I think there's like, well, there'd have to be close to 600 videos on this channel here, and then I've got my second channel. I think there's like 200 or 300 videos on that channel. So yeah, basically I'm at the point where I feel as if I've covered most topics that I set out to cover when I started this channel, if you know what I mean. So yeah, basically my aim was to answer just about any question you could ever have in that I knew obviously the answer to. Obviously I don't know everything, but I am pretty highly experienced in the trade, and I've spent the time to learn the ins and the outs of this trade. So as I say, like I set out to make a sort of a one-stop shop YouTube channel that you can watch all my videos and learn pretty much everything you need to in the auto body paint industry. So yeah, in saying that, basically I didn't include all those steps on this video, but I've got hundreds of other videos that I do go through all that in. And as I say, look, a big part of it is like, I just wanted to do a bit of an update video and just let you guys know how I'm doing. I'm doing fine. I'm actually here in Perth, Western Australia. Luckily, we are one of the few places around the world which has not even been hit by the pandemic. Well, we did get slightly hit by it very early on, and then we smashed it basically. We had like some light lockdowns for a few weeks. I think it was only like 3 weeks, and then we slowly got life back to normal. They lifted the restrictions and we've pretty much got rid of it. They've got pretty strict hotel quarantine measures for any West Australians that are returning to the state. So you'll have to yeah, be put up in a hotel, tight lockdowns on the hotels. And as far as the rest of it goes, I mean, I do feel for some of the holiday industries and stuff like that. But apart from that, most of the rest of us have pretty much got back to life as normal. Yeah, the panel and paint industry is pretty much back to normal. There's lots of places hiring, and there's lots of work in our workshop. We've got a full crew back at work, but all of that aside, I hope you are all doing well in your part of the world and staying safe. So what you saw me doing at the very start of the video was wiping the panels down with a bit of alcohol cleaner. So that's a bit of a mixture. It's 6800 is the number of the product. It's just an alcohol-based cleaner basically, and it's like demineralized water mixed with alcohol-based cleaner. Spray that down, and then I wiped it off with the blue rag you probably saw. That's like a sterile, supposedly lint-free rag that leaves little bits of lint behind. Now, prior to doing my masking, I also wiped the entire job down with a solvent-based degreaser, and that's called wax and grease remover or Prepsol. So yeah, I like to do that before I mask and then use the water cleaner after I mask, yeah, as the final stage. Now, sometimes I actually do forego the Prepsol stage or the solvent-based degreaser stage, and it works. 99. I mean, I'm yet to be like, oh geez, I wish I Prepsoled it, but sometimes, like especially on these kind of cars that they're really nice late model vehicle, And sometimes the owners actually like to put some silicon-based cleaners on, so that extra wipe down with a solvent-based degreaser can help get any of those silicon-based cleaners and stuff like that off. So Armor All and all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, after I've got the panels wiped down with the degreaser, I gave them a final blow-off with the air from the spray gun and a tack rag, just to get rid of any last bits of lint that, as I said, do get left behind from the those blue rags for whatever reason. And then I put the base coat blender down. That was the very first material that you saw me spraying down, and I was using the Anesti Water Bellaria 1.3, and then onto the base coat color stage, and I'm using my gun, the Gunman spray gun. So that's obviously pretty cool to have. Lots of people really do like that green Gunman spray gun there, and who could blame them? So it really does happen quite quickly with this Stando Blue, the base coat application that is. Like, I don't have much time to talk you guys through the base coat stage, because as you notice, it really only went for about a minute. You get your blender down, you put your 2 coats of base coat down, and you're done. So yeah, basically there is a look that you're looking for with this stuff, and it's one of those things that you're really only going to get the hang of by trial and error. But basically, your first coat, you put it down nice and wet, but you hold the gun pretty close, and then your second coat, you hold it back a bit and go nice and slow with a tight overlap. And yeah, just sort of like, as I say, there's a certain look that you're looking for when it's wet. To the untrained eye, wet Stando Blue, Chromax Pro, or Spies Hecker High-Tech, wet base coat of these systems can just look crazy and bad. But as I say, like, once you've been using it for a while, there is a certain look that you're looking for, and you'll know when you've got it. Basically, the key is, don't let that base coat blender dry before you get to do your blend, and don't let that first coat of base coat dry before you put your effect coat on, or whatever you want to call it, drop coat. That's what it gets called quite often. But yeah, basically you need it to be nice and wet, the first coat, for that second drop coat to sort of melt into it nicely, so to speak. So it's actually winter down here in Australia at the moment. So look, we don't get that bad winters here in Perth. Winter's day gets up to about, I don't know, 20 degrees, 25 sometimes on a nice day. So in saying that, like, the spray booth still gets up to like 30 degrees. And if you have it set too low, then it takes too long for the base coat to dry once you've got it on. And I've just found with this spray booth here, most of the time I just leave it set to 30 degrees, and you're pretty right. But yeah, the other thing I was going to say is that you do have to be careful. Like, this stuff, the base coat, still can dry quite quickly, even in winter. Because this spray booth here, that you can see, as I'm spraying, this is obviously the clear coat stage here, but you can see all that overspray, it's bang, it's gone in an instant. So that shows you that we do actually have quite a good airflow in this spray booth. And the way that this base coat dries is through airflow. So obviously heat helps as well, but the air flowing over the surface helps the water evaporate out. So yeah, as I say, you do still have to be careful here in winter that you don't have that first coat of base coat or that blender drying on you as you're still spraying. So one thing I do, even in winter, is actually just use a bit of a mixture with the base coat blender. So there's 2 different base coat blenders. You've got a slow and a normal. So what I'll actually do is just mix them both together, and then actually add a little bit of water to it as well. So the water will help slow it down a little bit as well. So sort of like a middle ground, not too slow, not too fast. And as far as the base coat goes, this one here, I actually put a drop of water in it. So I used fast or normal reducer in the base coat, but then I just put, I don't know, probably about 3 or 4% water in it to just help slow it down so it's not drying on me as I'm spraying. And with the air blower that you probably noticed me using before, it was the blue one. That thing blows such a high volume of air over the panel because it works on the Venturi. So it basically draws air from the spray booth in as well as the compressed air that you're blasting directly onto the panel. So the other thing to keep in mind is that we have like a killer good compressor sitting out the back of this workshop. It's like an air screw compressor, and yeah, like the previous place that I worked in didn't have the air screw compressor, and wow, I didn't know how much we needed it until I had it, if you know what I mean. Another thing to quickly mention is that when I was doing those blends, I was spraying it at 1 bar pressure. Now the paint reps used to always tell me, oh, it has to be 2 bar, 2 bar, 2 bar for everything, and I struggled with my blends. Like, you can't blend at 2 bar, and like they're telling me you have to do it, and I'm like, I mean, I'm new to the system. I'm just like, okay, like I'll try, and I was not blending anything. Like basically, I couldn't even spray that door without basically going full color down the whole side, because I was basically trying to use a fire hydrant to water my pot plants with, and that's what they were telling me to do. Oh no, Gunny, you gotta run. So I'm gonna have to fix that one in the morning. So I decided to give you guys a look at the base coat stage again. As I said at the start, it sort of all does happen quite quickly. Now you've heard what I had to say about applying the base coat. We'll give you another look at it, and yeah, hopefully you can pick a couple of things up from it. So first up, obviously, base coat blender. That's what I've just sprayed down there with the Iwata Bellaria. And then straight away, you got your other guns. So you need to walk in there with 2 guns. Straight away, you got the Pro Light. So that's a TE20 1.3 is the setup on it. Full fan, full fluid. And as you saw there, I've gone down to about 1 bar to do these blends. As I say before, like, mate, you must think I'm a joker. Like, no way I'm going to try doing blends like that with 2 bars anymore. Like, another thing that I have actually noticed lately is that the pressure makes a hell of a lot less difference than the way you apply it, obviously. I mean, to me now, I feel like I was taken for a ride, like taken for a fool. Like, why did I believe them? I guess, you know, like when something's new, like I was probably, yeah, listening to them too much, the paint reps that is. But now, I've basically given myself a bit more freedom. I've seen some of the stuff that the other guys that I do and I'm like, well, if they're gonna do that is something that I would not even ever do, well, I'm gonna open my mind up and try a few different things and see what works for me. So basically, I've been a bit more open with this system to try new things, and they're basically working. Like, there's obviously a core set of you know, procedures that I always follow and I'm not going to deviate from, but yeah, little things like turning the pressure down when I need to. Yeah, it just makes total sense to me. It's something that I never would have done. Like, if I wasn't told to do a blend with 2 bar, there is no way I ever would have done it. But I was told by multiple of the tech reps when I was new to this system, 2 bar, everything. And there was no question. Like, that was gospel. Like, that was the religion. 2 bar, and there's no stepping outside of it. But as I say, you don't need to. It's more how you apply it than than the pressure behind the spray gun. And it makes total sense to me. I was really happy with how this job came up. As I said before, I got a bit of a run in that door. I'm gonna have to fix that first thing in the morning. But apart from that, I'm pretty happy with how the job came up. It blended out nice and it's pretty clean. I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favorite is those spray suits. So they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with a Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies, and t-shirts, so be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested. All that aside, I'd just like to say a big thanks for watching, and that is enough to support the channel. But as I say, if you'd like to go the next step, then be sure to check out some of that merchandise. Thanks for watching, and until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.